Hello all. Today I'm here to talk to you all about the fascinating, the exciting, the glamorous topic of birdcage substrate. Yep, what is best to use on the bottom of your birdcage to deal with poop and the resulting bacterial growth and foul smells. What products are the most effective, easiest to obtain, most convenient to use, and quickest to dispose of. I'll also be talking about the disadvantages of the most common method and what to avoid completely. Then, the products that I use and recommend. I've tried out pretty much every safe method and spent a whole lot of money and a whole lot of time, something that you won't have to do after watching this video. Now, choosing the right substrate can have a large impact on the health and happiness of your birds, and can also have a big impact on your enjoyment of them. Nobody wants a smelly, dirty cage or a floor covered in seed shells and feather dust. Choosing the right method will also save you a lot of time and money, resulting in more frequent cleanings and an overall cleaner cage. After all, a bird cage is often placed in the busiest rooms of the house and is interacted with frequently. Might as well make it as pleasant and attractive as possible. Now, there is a lot of information out there on the interwebs about this and other bird care topics. Lately, it all seems to be rather contradictory or just plain wrong, sometimes dangerously so. The age of AI slop is truly upon us. It is now learning its own mistakes, and these mistakes are now becoming the new truth. I did 5 separate searches on this topic, and each one gave me a separate set of different results. Some of these early results were quite wrong, and I will be warning you about these later on in this video. As I did more searches, specifically on the method that I use here, I noticed that search results were changing, turning into an echo chamber, showing me only the information that agreed with me. It began quietly hiding information that did not agree with what it assumed was my viewpoint. This became very obvious once I switched accounts and tried again. It is because of this that I usually only trust information that comes from a source that I know or that I gained myself through experience. But enough conspiracy theory nonsense, onto the main topic, substrate. Now, the roles of substrate is to absorb, evaporate, and contain, to turn poop from a stinky mess into a safe, dry material. It is not meant to keep your birds away from the waste, or keep them from walking through it, coming into contact with it, or potentially eating it while rooting around for dropped seed. That is the job of the bottom grate of a cage, the wire separator, or wire floor, that comes with every cage. This acts as a physical barrier between the living area of the cage and the bottom collection pan. These bottom grates should always be used and kept clean, and will prevent a lot of bird health problems. Also, they help in keeping the floor area around the cage cleaner as well. Nobody wants spent seeds and bird poop being kicked up and flung out of the cage and onto the floor. And nobody wants a bird on your cage. Oh, what did you just do? What did you just pick off? All right, little bugger. Now, onto the floor, yeah. Again, the main purpose of whatever substrate we use is to absorb and evaporate. The better and quicker that this is done, the less chance bacteria has to grow, and the less of an offensive odor there will be. The main factors that we will be looking for in choosing a substrate will be the antiseptic qualities and surface area. The better the antiseptic quality of the substrate, the less chance of bacteria forming. The more surface area, the faster that moisture will evaporate, and the drier the bottom of the cage will be. This reduces odor and growth potential. It is with these qualities in mind that we should be choosing our substrate, along with cost, convenience, workload, and ease of disposal. Now I've got a ton of birds here hanging from wires. Come on, off the wires, off that, off that. Now, the first and most obvious choice, by far the most common, is of course newspaper. This is what my family used since the first bird that I can remember having as a pet, a little blue budgie back in the late 70s. Newspaper was what was found on the bottom of every bird cage, and I used it extensively here when I first set up my aviary. Its main advantages were obvious: affordability and accessibility. While most people no longer have daily delivery, it is still easy, if not entirely ethical, to just go down to the neighborhood mailbox and pick up a stack of your community newspaper and flyers. But in some ways, this is a false economy, as using newspaper as a substrate does have disadvantages. The main drawback is that you have to change it out daily. if not multiple times a day, to prevent bacterial growth and odor. This is because it is not very absorbent and has a very low surface area. It just lays flat on the bottom of the cage. It also does nothing for containment, to prevent the scattering of seed shells, feathers, and dust every time a bird flaps its wings. Even using several layers, when it gets wet with poop, it stays wet for quite a while. This moisture is what causes bacterial growth and odor. Get off of there. That's a light. That's hot. Plus, it is the least attractive of all options, proudly displaying the little piles of poop along with various advertisements, politicians' faces, the depressing news stories, and poor local sport team scores. It's free, it's traditional, but not really the best option. Of course, there are other paper products that are popular. Butcher's paper is at least free from ads and faces, but has even lower absorption properties. Oh, that really hurt. Right in the eyeball. Safety first. There we go. Should have worn these right at the beginning. Safety. Oh, poop. Hang on. Where was I? Butcher's paper. Yeah, butcher's paper is at least it's free from ads and faces, but has even lower absorption properties, and you got to pay for it. Now you see, I got my safety glasses on. You can't get that in my eyeballs. Yeah, the butcher's paper is it's also very expensive, considering you have to use several layers and change it out daily. Paper towels are the best paper products to use, and are extremely absorbent. They are also expensive. And if there's ever another pandemic, or even a rumor of one, Ebola, hantavirus, well, then you better get your panic buying in early. They're also hard to get to lay flat, and air movement from birds' wings can cause the paper and what's on it to move around. The only time I use paper products, paper towels here, is when I want to monitor droppings for any signs of illness or an incompatible diet. Now, during my research, I did get a whole lot of results, AI, articles, videos, recommending products that really must be avoided at all costs. Any shredded paper or bedding products made for rodents, while it may look pretty, are almost designed for growing bacteria, and the dust they give off are a hazard for our birds. Crushed walnut shells, crushed corn cob, straw, flaxseed shells, or any other organic farming or crop byproduct is no good in this situation either. There's a bird chewing on my camera. Get off there. Far from being antiseptic, it works as more of a growth medium for bacteria and can begin to rot quite quickly. It is also harmful if ingested by a bird, or even if the dust is inhaled. Clumping clay kitty litter, again, inhalation and probably crop impaction if eaten, a very common and serious problem. Kitty litter of any kind is often scented in some way and can cause serious respiratory problems. Sand is popular in some areas, but must be cleaned prior to use, can be very dusty, and spreads out and traps liquid waste instead of letting the moisture evaporate. It is also heavier, does not last long before needing a change, and is a pain to dispose of properly. Sandpaper or bird cage liners are a scam product and can be very harmful for birds as well. Our birds do not need grit, which is the main selling point of this product, still found in many pet stores. Uncoated cardboard pieces was actually a common AI recommendation because it has the advantage of being a chewable surface birds could play with. Poop-soaked cardboard, safety glasses. Poop-soaked cardboard is not really a preferred enrichment toy for our birds. I have seen recommendations for puppy pads as well, and while absorbent, they are expensive for everyday use and a danger if a bird can somehow reach it. Others recommend cloth towels changed daily. Not bad if you don't mind doing a whole bunch of extra washing and buying a new stack of towels every year. I do use cloth bath towels and kitchen towels occasionally, but only in hospital cages or for special needs rescue birds that cannot perch and need to sit on the bottom of a cage. But there are products, ones that are effective and low in cost, that I do recommend. The first is what I've been using here for about 10 years. And what I first recommend to people when picking up a new birdie from me: wood shavings animal bedding. Screened and kiln dried white wood shavings. Cheap to buy in bulk from feed stores and some pet stores. It is sold as animal bedding, mostly for horses, goats, cows, and other farmyard critters. I'm going to turn you into a farmyard critter pretty soon. It is also perfectly safe for our birds. I have been using it not only in cage bottoms, but also in direct contact with babies. It is used in the nest boxes, in the brooders, and in the hand feeding station holding bins. Wood shavings in a 1 or 2 inch layer have a very high surface area to aid in the trapping and evaporation of moisture. They are naturally antibacterial and antimicrobial due to the natural oils, resins, and phenols in the pine wood that's usually included in the white wood shavings mixes. It traps and neutralizes odors and prevents bacteria from growing. It has a nice, light, pleasant smell and looks good in the bottom of a cage. And you know how in a bag of potato chips, the biggest chips are always at the top and the crumbs are at the bottom? You get the same effect with the wood shavings. The discarded seed and much of the older waste migrate to the bottom of the tray and get covered with the shavings, out of sight and in less danger of being kicked up and out of the cage. And did I say it is cost effective? You can get a large compressed bale for well under $10, and this will last several months if you only have 1 or 2 cages. Now, make sure not to get shavings with fur or especially cedar, as these products can irritate a bird's respiratory tract. This would also irritate other animals as well, so it is left out of shavings sold as animal bedding. Do not use wood shavings or other wood products meant for landscaping. While it is cheaper, it is not screened or kiln dried and will contain a wide array of wood, plant, and animal matter. Now, because animal bedding wood shavings are so cheap to use, having a more effective, thicker layer is no problem. And disposal is easy. I checked, and it can go into the food waste and compost bins for weekly garbage pickup. In this way, it is also very eco-friendly, as wood shavings break down nicely into compost. You can even use it as cover or compost in your own gardens, just as long as you don't mind all the wild birds coming in for the seeds that will be mixed in. But the best thing with using wood shavings is the time saved. You do not have to change out the tray every... How the hell are you doing that? How many of you are on here? Oh, get off! Oh, there's a whole bunch of you on there. Never work with animals. Holy crow. They're a little bit in high spirits tonight, sorry. The best thing about wood shavings is that you do not have to change out the tray every day. It can be left for up to a week or more, depending on cage size versus the size and number of your birds. The antimicrobial properties of the shavings and the large surface area encourage moisture evaporation. This means that you can leave them in there longer without having to worry about bacterial growth or odors. You can even spot clean certain areas if you have messier birds, changing out only the soiled shavings to keep looking and smelling fresh. Now, there are a couple of other products that I have used and I do recommend, although they're not quite as affordable or easy to dispose of. These products are compressed wood bedding pellets and compressed wood fuel pellets. The latter are meant to be used in a wood burning pellet stove. They're pretty much the same product at about the same price and have the same advantages and disadvantages. They are made from wood chips compressed under pressure and heat to form pellets. When these pellets get wet, say from bird poop or splash water, they expand and revert back. Ah, that spooked you off, eh? That's the ringneck beacon off there. But when the pellets get wet from bird poop or water, they expand and revert back to being fine wood chips. This greatly increases surface area and helps to evaporate moisture. But to be honest, the biggest advantage of using these wood pellet products is mostly visual. They give a nice, uniform look to the bottom of the cage, and it is easy to spot clean and scoop out the expanded wood chips without having to change the entire tray each time. Refill and give everything a little stir to sift small stuff to the bottom, and your cage looks nice again. You can leave the pellets there for a week or more, and you have a clearer visual indication of when it is time to change out the entire tray. The only real disadvantages are cost and weight. A sack will run you $6 to $8, depending on where you go, and can be good for about 3 to 6 tray changes. But you can find them in many more locations than wood shavings, including hardware stores like Canadian Tire and Home Hardware. Then there is the other disadvantage, the weight. A sack runs to about 40 pounds. The weight becomes more of a problem when you consider disposal. You can still put them into the compost bin, but if you have a lot of them in there, it can get very hard to wheel that sucker out onto the curb on pickup days. I used pellets here for several years on a large scale. But as the aviary grew, so did the problems of disposal. Getting rid of 600 odd pounds of pellets every week was just not sustainable. The switch to wood shavings made the whole process of cage cleaning much simpler. Well, that is pretty much most of what I know about the enthralling world of cage substrates. But keeping your birds' cages clean and doing so in a way that is easy, affordable, and convenient makes a big difference. Your bird will be happier and healthier with a cleaner home base, and so will you and your family. Choosing the right products to use will make this job a little less of a chore. Speaking of chores, I've got to get all these guys back in the cage. Maybe a little more playtime. But you get off, and you get off. Everybody off.